As classroom diversity continues to trend upwards, 21st century teachers are forced to make appropriate pedagogical adjustments to maintain their effectiveness. When teachers apply the principles of universal design for learning, they are able to design learning goals and lesson materials that meet the needs of all their students. Al-Azawi et al. 2017. They are also able to apply appropriate teaching methods and assessment practices that promote learning. Rayo and Mio 2016. So what is universal design for learning? Universal design for learning, UDL, is an approach to curriculum planning and implementation which minimizes barriers and maximizes learning for all students. Rayo and Mio 2016. According to Al-Azawi et al. 2017, UDL, when applied appropriately, has been shown to have a positive effect on learners' experience, especially learners at the tertiary level. CAST 2011 also argued that UDL is beneficial to all learners who are experiencing barriers, whether these barriers are medical or non-medical. There are three tenets of UDL. These are providing multiple means of representation, providing multiple means of action and expression, and providing multiple means of engagement. Rayo and Mio 2016. This presentation will focus primarily on providing multiple means of action and expression. This tenet of UDL advocates for allowing learners to demonstrate their understanding in various ways. One of the underpinning principles of this tenet of UDL is the belief that all learners are unique and will therefore have unique strengths and weaknesses. CAST 2011. The goal of this UDL tenet is to make provisions for learners to express their knowledge despite their impairment. Al-Azawi et al. 2017. Journals, dramatizations, observations, peer and self-evaluation, demonstrations, interviews, portfolios. These are all examples of assessment options that can be used with this tenet of UDL. Zagami et al. 2018. So what are the practical applications of this UDL tenet? How should course developers use the principles of this UDL tenet in the design, development, and evaluation phases? The first practical application is providing options for action and expression and also communication. In applying this tenet, course developers should ensure that a wide variety of assessment options are provided so that learners will have the opportunity to demonstrate their competence by multiple means. For example, students should have the option of submitting a video presentation as opposed to a written essay once all the requisite skills and knowledge can be demonstrated. Using multiple media for communication. The use of multiple media for communication is another effective way to facilitate multiple means of action and expression. This tenet of UDL advocates for the deliberate and generous use of the wide variety of digital tools which are available for educational purposes. Varying the type of communication media used within a learning program will widen the interaction scope, and this will ultimately benefit the learners. Optimizing the use of assistive technology. Assistive technology refers to any physical item or software application that is used to enhance or maintain a disabled person's use of a digital tool or equipment. Gavin et al. 2018. Reading pens, tablets, spell checkers, and braille keyboards are all examples of assistive technologies. Gavin et al. 2018. Providing learners with access to these tools will often prove counterproductive unless the learners are given the appropriate support to help them to use these tools effectively. Whenever assistive technology is available, learners should be given full access to these features. The use of multiple tools for construction and composition. Another important component of the multiple means of action and expression tenet of UDL is the use of multiple tools for construction and composition. In many learning institutions, the teaching and assessment practices are still very one-dimensional. The vast majority of the classroom tools are traditional in nature. For example, in most classrooms, all students are usually forced to draw with a regular compass, despite the fact that there are many alternatives available. CAST 2011 asserted that this heavy reliance on these basic tools robs learners of the opportunity to gain real-world experience, and it also limits the range of teaching content which teachers can explore. To satisfy the requirement of this UDL tenet, course developers and teachers are encouraged to widen the scope of educational tools used within the classroom. This will allow learners to approach the various classroom tasks and activities in the same way they would approach these tasks in the real world. This approach also gives students the opportunity to choose construction and composition tools that best suits their needs. Providing multiple tools for construction and composition will have many positive effects on classroom outcomes because it focuses on the needs of the learners and does not seek to limit their learning. So finally, what are the implications of using this tenet of UDL? Firstly, most in-service teachers will need additional training. Warwick in 2015 noted that most training programs do not adequately prepare teachers for the modern high-tech classroom. In many instances, technology is the mechanism by which the UDL tenets are facilitated. Most in-service teachers will therefore need additional training to equip them to effectively use both technology and the various UDL tenets in their day-to-day classes. Teachers will also need additional planning time. To implement UDL effectively, teachers will also need additional planning time. Teachers will not effectively integrate the UDL principles without first giving careful thought and consideration to the many variables which exist in the teaching and learning space. Thirdly, the implementation of UDL should have an educational focus. Adding UDL to the existing classroom environment without making appropriate pedagogical adjustments is counterproductive. Improving student attainment should be the primary focus and motivation for using the UDL principles. Finally, additional technical support will be needed. The successful integration of UDL in teaching and learning is impossible without adequate technical support. I want to thank you for watching, and I hope that this presentation has been beneficial. Have a wonderful day.